Hello, my beautiful African people. Welcome back to Here and Right African Facebook page and YouTube channel. Today, our topic today is corruption in South Africa and in Nigeria. Is there any redemption for both of these two countries? The two biggest economies in Africa are plagued by corruption. You know, South Africa and Nigeria, these two countries, their GDP combined together is about 1.9 trillion, which makes them the biggest or two biggest economies in Africa. Let us break it down. South Africa, their GDP as of 2023 is around $800 billion. And that of Nigeria is $1.1 trillion. And when you look at other African countries, their GDP, they are very small compared to these two countries. And you remember that Nigeria have the largest population compared to the entire Africa. Because Nigeria have about 223 million people, and South Africa has about 60 million people living there. But let's go after these countries one after the other. Like in South Africa, the ANC, the ruling party, have been in power for more than up to 30 years. So, which means that if any party or political party have been in power for more than even 10 years, you know that they have no excuses to give anymore of why their game plan have not worked out. You can't keep giving excuses for years, this things is going to improve, and if it's not improving, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, it seems that it will never improve. And when we talk about corruption, people don't know that corruption, it doesn't start at the top. It starts at the bottom and goes all the way to the top. When it goes to the top, that's when it will make the greatest impact. And today we're gonna look at the impact of corruption in two areas as regards to Africa. Nigeria, on the other hand, is also known as, among the corrupt or the top corrupt countries in the world, even though some people might disagree. But Nigeria, the ruling party in Nigeria is called APC. And they have been in power at least close to 10 years, which means they have no excuses, Because sometimes when you get the power, you're supposed to have your plan B. If plan A doesn't work out, you use your plan B. So those two political parties in South Africa and in Nigeria has no valid excuses anymore to give to their people why things have not improved. let's circle back to why, or to the areas often corruption. We see corruption make a big impact. In terms of corruption, is always impacting the infrastructure. The infrastructure of any country, if it's weak, most of the time is caused by corruption. Let's look at South Africa, for instance. The electricity problems in South Africa. Now they have what we call load shedding. This load shedding means that they share electricity. Some area might have electricity for like three hours, and it will be taken. And another area might have like 4 hours, or like another who might have for one day, and the next day they might take it for 2 hours or 3 hours. They said they're doing this to protect the remaining infrastructure, electricity infrastructure in that country. And the one sad situation about this load shedding in South Africa is that it's gonna dry up jobs, because you cannot go and open a factory where you know that you're not gonna have a constant electricity. And where there's no factories, there will be less job, because if there is a factories, people can be employed to work in a factory. The same electricity problem happens in Nigeria as well. I think Nigerians' own might be worse, because people are used to, having to go for maybe 1 week without electricity. But I think in South Africa, it's like, I don't think it have gotten to be in 1 week without electricity. But in Nigeria, some people might go for even 1 month without electricity, and no one cares. Because when there's corruption, it affects mostly the infrastructure, because if there's budget to put money in infrastructure like electricity infrastructure, the people that are in charge of those money will not use it properly. They would, some of those money will go into private pockets, and the infrastructure will be just not maintained, or another new one built. This is what we see often in Africa, and it's too bad, because it says the corruption impacts even the little child, the unborn children, because their destiny will be messed up sometimes. Another area that corruption impacts our people in Africa is personally, let's say, because let's take, for instance, like Nigeria, where Nigeria have natural resources, huge natural resources. And these natural resources, they have been milking it, making hard currency out of these natural resources. But imagine at a point when this natural resources dries up, and there's no money coming from those petrol or gas, natural gas. You know what these politicians will do? They will turn to their own people. They'll start to make laws to take money from their people. Like what we see, it started to happen in Nigeria as well, because if you're Nigerian and you have your passport and you want to renew your passport, they charge you about $100 and something for renewal. This is your country charging you money. They should not charge something even close to £50 to do that, because other countries do give their people this for free. But this is what they're going to start doing. They're going to start to intimidate their people, start to, start to squeeze them and start to getting money from them, from the innocent people when those natural resources stop. That's why corruption is bad. Any country that is infected by corruption, you see that it brings a lot of crime, insecurity as well, because that's what we see in Nigeria. There is a lot of insecurity everywhere in Nigeria, and all this is fueled by corruption because the people at the helm of their affairs, they don't put those stuff into consideration. The same thing in South Africa. There will be crime. The crime rate will increase because of corruption. Because when people are jobless, some of them are likely to indulge in crimes. That's why you need jobs to keep them busy, to keep those guys busy. So when we look at these two countries, I don't think there is any hope in the horizon, because the two parties that are running both countries, they are corrupt. It's obvious. And these two countries are supposed to show examples for other countries to follow, letting Africans down, which is tragedy. Thank you for watching. Peace.